Um, if you, I realize to a certain extent, it's akin to asking a lawyer to write a balanced agreement, which is unusual in usual circumstances is a really bad idea. Okay. But
Yeah.
there is something, I think there's something there that would fits to the model of what we've seen in terms of statecraft that has worked, things such as the Outer Space Treaty, and where statecraft has failed, such as the Moon Agreement. So the we need to be able to follow James Gunn's advice, in the listeners. It's not so much our battles of the past and our need to pass those on, but rather what we need to understand is our battles as they relate to the future. What can we learn from, and make better choices going forward?
Yeah.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot there. Basically, just focusing on specifically the learning from learning from the mistakes of treaties gone by and picking the examples of what's working. Um, there's a lot there. Where is this already? Has this Make It talk been? Is it already out viewable, or is this
Oh,
is this
the stuff that I'm working on in terms of the discussion class notes. I'll put a
oh,
link,
okay?
to share it. It's, it
Please
is
do.
it's a raw discussion, but the idea being is it's not an attempt. It's an attempt to invite people into the discussion as opposed to, create something that dictates to people of what it needs, in some way dictates what something has to be. It's an
Mhm.
invitation to the discussion of what should be.
Hi, Amalie.
Hello, Adriano. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
hear you.
Hi. Hi there. Hi.
And we also have a Preeti. Who is Preeti? Then Preeti. I don't know how it to be pronounced. Your name. Can you just quickly introduce yourself, because I'm afraid that we don't know you, or at least I don't know you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
we can
so
hear.
I'm Dr. Preeti. I'm a general surgery trainee from India, and my work is involved with space surgery research, and I'm also associated with Space and Global Health Network, which is an initiative by UNUSA. And during my research on different space initiatives, I came across SRI, and I thought I should know what exactly it is. I did share the link to 18th SDG also, because it is really interesting initiative to think about such an SDG which is dedicated to space law and space
Yeah.
uses. Yeah, in the long run, it is definitely very important and impactful. So that's basically about me. Anything else you want to know about me?
Now, how did you get in to know that we have this committee, the Space Law Committee and the 18 SDG Committee? You were invited by some of our members, or you are a member?
I had I had signed up the petition for 18th SDG, and I had visited the website, the official website for SRI, and yeah, I did sign up for the membership, and I got a calendar invite for this event. Is that supposed to be official, or I am I
Oh, great.
joining?
So
Yeah,
you are a member already.
right.
Oh, that's fine. Welcome.
Great.
Very interesting. Good. So I think we can maybe begin. I don't know if Wes or Dennis or Bot have prepared a kind of agenda for this meeting. I would suggest, if not, that we can use the draft presentation prepared by Dennis that, by the way, is not a slide presentation, is a word, is a textual presentation. But I think, yeah, I was reading it quickly just before initiating the meeting. And I think the main points, let me say controversial or not controversial, but however, the main points that we would like to raise at the attention at Corpus are mentioned. So my proposal will be to do two things. First of all, have a look at the action items and possibly to close many of them that are still open. So we try to do that, taking not more than 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And then I would ask Dennis to illustrate his presentation, his draft presentation. And maybe along the presentation, we can discuss some points and maybe adjust a little bit the text if needed, and so on. So what do you think? Is this agenda?
That sounds good, Adriano.
I have a suggestion also that we take a little bit of time to do some UN Corpus house cleaning, per se, to go over what's been submitted, what's going to be submitted next and when, and the responses you've got so far and how it's going to be distributed in the legal subcommittee. That's my only other suggestion.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I think of course we need to do that as well. And yeah, I'm not exactly sure who will be our delegation in the legal subcommittee. Even myself, I'm not quite sure to go this time for several problems that I have. But I think Werner and yeah, Barnhard will be there the second week, not the first week, but he will be there the first day and then the second week. Werner, I don't know if you are available to stay there the whole time.
Not the whole time, but I could stay for some days. But of course, I'm not a lawyer, but I can also
Neither me.
listen what yes, like you. Okay. Once more, when is this
It's from the
conference?
the 5 of May up to the 14th, maybe.
The 5 of May up to the 14th. Okay.
Check the calendar. I will be more.
I have a calendar in front of me. Yes, so I can join the conference maybe for 3 days or 4 days or something like this.
The last day is 16.
The last day is 16. Yes.
2 weeks basically.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I can join the. I can join it. I think each week for maybe some days, maybe. Okay, on 7th and the 8th of May, and maybe on the 13th and the 14th of May, like this.
Yeah. Okay, so I will share the calendar now so we can maybe.
I would if I could, you know it, but I'm too much of a liability. I've rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, so I just have to sit on the sidelines for that.
Is here. So yeah, the first day. It was already written here. Barnhard the 5th, and then from 12 to 17. Adriano is expected to be there from 5 to 9. Werner, can you repeat, please, the days? So
yes, from 7 to 8.
7. 5 to 8. 05, yes.
And from the 13th and the 14th of May.
13 and 14.
And 14, yeah, yes.
13, 14. Okay. Marie-Louise, we don't know if she will come or not, but okay, in the same time, I am out of video. I don't know why. Try to restart my video camera. Okay, I'm back. So we have to understand Marie-Louise what she wants to do, and I will write her tomorrow if she doesn't come here now. Okay, so it is now the action items. Odd. Too many action items, but not all of these committees. Just a moment, let me rearrange the selection. Rearrange the selection. Let's take away filter, and we make a new filter because I discovered that sometimes the filter doesn't work anymore and it needs to be remade. Okay. So committee space 18. Okay, let's see only the space law. Then we will check the others. Space law. Okay, the status, let's see only the open one. Okay. There are too many committees still. The ODNS. Why? Why the hell? Clear everything. Space law. This is what I like. 3 action items. There was one for me: initiate contact with the Italian government regarding potential Artemis Accord participation by NGOs, and it was for August 2024. So if we want to try again, we can reschedule it for, let me say, 30 of June. Even if I think that the Italian government has other things to do in this time. Initiate contact with the US government regarding potential Artemis Accords. This was Gary for 31 of August, so past year. So we have to reschedule also this one. But first of all, Gary, do you think it will be possible? Is something reasonable to do, or in the current situation? You are mute.
Yeah, the answer is I think there are possibilities. One of the things that I've done and I can share with you is this question of blazing a path, from the Artemis Accords to some form of some form of understanding that facilitates sustainable infrastructure and settlement, if you will. And what I attempted to go off and do is take the Artemis Accords and all of the foundational and applicable documents that were referenced and invoked in the same, and see whether or not there's something between what amounts to being the foundational documents in the Artemis Accords and an interface control document.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What that middle ground? What is that? And I would be happy. I'll put the link for what I've done, in that as well. It's a work in progress, but I think that there's something to drawing out that understanding.
Yeah.
So the answer is I've been working the problem, and I've actually been talking with NASA and a number of parties, and there are some good examples, the particularly associated with the LunaNet and position, navigation, and time ancillary services that seem ripe for fostering a broader extension between nation state delegations and corporate and nonprofit and other interested entities.
Okay.
And that's where it's that middle ground that I was referring to earlier that makes that apparent.
Yeah, I think now the new director could be Jared Isaacman, if he will be the new NASA director.
Yep, new administrator. It remains to be
Administrator,
seen,
yes.
but he has had his first hearing. There's an interesting there's an interesting essay that was put out by the Space Frontier Foundation yesterday, which posited an interesting possibility rather than tap dancing answers, which Jarek Eisenman offered up to pointed questions from various senators. What would have happened if he actually gave substantive, on-point answers? And
By the way,
this essay postulated what some of those answers could have been. And quite frankly, I don't think they were far off the mark. So are we going into, are we evolving to a situation where there is a much more pragmatic implementation of space policy driven by mission success? Or are we, basically, you could think of any number of, questionable, if not dubious, euphemisms for, relations with Elon Musk. Okay. So not being sure that such, jokes translate, let's put it this way. There is a challenge. The NASA administrator has three fundamental challenges that are part of his job, his or her job. One is to ride technical herd on the centers, getting them to focus rather than on parochial interests of the centers, but on mission success. Secondly, the ability to maintain a relationship with the executive branch, Office of Management and Budget, to ensure that there is a reasonable, fiscal runout for work that the agency is moving forward with and that sustains the agency. Third, the relationship with Congress, both, with respect to appropriations and the authorizations, thereof. Jared Isaacman doesn't have experience in any of those areas. What he does have is he has enthusiasm, interest, a proven ability to engage, and fairly complex business with the federal government. For example, he saw a need and went and built a company that fielded an aggressor squadron of foreign aircraft for wargaming activities. He's a pilot, and this was something that did well for him. What he has to be able to do, though, is bring on people to work with him that have the skills that he's missing and complement him. And there are real possibilities there. Some of the best administrators of NASA have not been engineers. James Webb, who was the administrator for a large portion of the Apollo program, was a lawyer, but he had something called LabCorp, I believe was its name, which was a small army of engineers that reported to headquarters that wrote herd on things. So there's there are real possibilities, but Jarrett's going to need help.
By the way, Robert Katz said he knows him personally. Robert Katz.
Yeah, he's supposed to be at ISDC in 2025.
Yeah,
in Orlando.
He showed me a picture of them, the two of them together at the ISDC, talking and drinking something or something like that. So it could be maybe I don't know, a link to talk with this guy.
I look forward to helping keep him up past his bedtime in some thoughtful discussions. So
yeah. Okay.
I have something to add to what Gary was saying, if you don't mind. Tell me if you notice the same thing, Gary, but the Artemis Accords itself, the foundational document, initially it's very country specific, but it's underpinned and further updated by these subsequent operating agreements that come out of the meetings between the signatories that happen not on a regular basis, but there's been about 2 of those so far and 2 further operational documents. And I see a potential path for further involvement through those kind of operational documents and participation by the private sector in those meetings.
Absolutely. That, you succeeded in restating perhaps in a clearer form what I was trying to get across. Okay, there is an opportunity there.
Exactly.
We saw that happen with respect to space station in the robotic systems integration standards, both in the formulation of the robotics accommodation requirements and the interface standards. It was we found a way to draw out a confluence of interests that ended up making sense to all of the participants, and it actually worked. We've made international cooperation work there. Okay, in a rare moment, the director of the automation and robotics branch, down a few adult beverages, came up and told me at a social occasion, says, Gary, this is not something that you'd hear often, but in level 2, you folks managed to do some real engineering work in the in the robotics area, and it's made a difference.
I think Amalie want to say something.
Yeah, I'm it's Artie, the head of ANUSA. There was a very interesting talk she gave. And she's really a technologist. She wants to see exactly what you're talking about, operator agreements. This is the big thing with her, how to get these international agreements, standardization of operations in space. But she's not really looking at the the weapons ban particularly. She did discuss it, but what was I trying to say? Really, it's the verification, the operating mechanisms and the verification, which I personally feel are very much part of this theory of the treaty-based, treaty against weapons. That will be a big part of it. So I just wanted to mention that, I'm following your discussion, and I think this is the way it's going to go, operator agreements. And if that can be broken down into international agreements or global agreements or treaty agreements, that will be halfway there. What is in space, what's happening, what are all the various countries doing. It all comes down to how it's being monitored, verified, and perceived. And I think those steps are in front of us. Hopefully, if it doesn't break down, that's the direction we're going in. Yeah.
Well, okay. I think, however, to reply a question made by Gary, I think, if I understood well, if SRI will get a seat as observer or any possible definition in the Artemis, I think we will propose our proposal as we are doing with ILRS, because we are Barnhard is invited to a couple of ILRS big meetings in next month in China, Shanghai and Beijing. I don't remember well. And however, what we want to we will like to propose is first of all our proposal of a UN flag on the moon, as we are proposing to ILRS, to both the coalitions. And also we would like to mention the 18th SDG and all the related arguments that mainly to take care of the human requirements while going to the moon and to Lagrange points and to asteroids and so on. So protecting life and health in space, and ensuring that, let me say, as you Gary say, in a grand scheme of things, that missions, incoming missions, are intended to expansion, not only to have a rotating crew on the moon each 6 months or something like that, but to try building in space for the in a strategy of expansion, in a real strategy of expansion. So take care of the habitats, of the green environments in the habitats and all these kind of things. Even if only as an experimentation by now, because of course we cannot claim that thousands of people will go there and start living. But however, it is different. Even in the design time, it is very, very much different if you are designing architecture and missions for settlement, or you are designing architecture and mission just for exploration and for round trip, go there, put the flag and come back. So yeah, I think more or less, and this one. And the other important thing is that we will be, as we are trying to do at Corpus, we will be the bishops of the space emerging countries, let me say, and some of them are in the 53 that signed the Artemis Accords. So we will try to be on the side of these very courageous countries that want to participate to this big adventure, and we will try to be at their side, defending their rights to know what is happening, and to have a role in it also, not only as a trained piggyback, but an active role, and that their engineers and their scientists are correctly involved in a cooperation spirit, in a 100% integrated spirit, and so on. So yeah, I think SRI, if we have a possibility to talk in that assembly, will support more or less the same thing that we are supporting at Corpus and at ILRS, more or less.
Adriano, in terms of a response to that, there certainly is a possibility at a higher level that there's an explicit acknowledgement of the role of companies, universities, nonprofit organizations, individuals, what have you, in the implementation. But I believe that this is an opportunity that will be born out of example, as opposed to wishful thinking, in the sense that I end up having an informal meeting with the NASA cislunar common nav architect every month, for other reasons. And one of the topics we get to talk about is that how there can be a reasonable intersection, from details of dealing with common nav and position and navigation in time, as technology development, demonstration, and deployment missions, to more broadly how you can provide for sustainable infrastructure and settlement in the absence of any clear articulation of what that means. And that becomes a foundation, so that when you end up talking, to what amounts to being the senior management, if you will, one of the first things they typically will go off and do is reach out to the technical people that they rely on. And if their technical people respond, yeah, this is something that makes sense, this is something we've been exploring, you get away from the not invented here syndrome, and you're essentially creating a situation where you can avoid agency pushback because of something, the perception that it wasn't invented here. So there are opportunities here, but anytime we have anytime we have a situation where we can meaningfully convey a framework for understanding, either the problem space or the solution space in a more efficacious manner, it ends up being a win, particularly in areas that are poorly understood. Because how does a person make a decision? They consult the fund of knowledge that they have at their disposal. And if some of the best data points they have for dealing with something, come from the information we've provided, it's a win.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think the third action item that is in the list is to monitor participation potential within ATLAC. And myself, Werner, and Marie-Louise were. This is of course an let me say an open action item. Is not that doesn't have a deadline, but we can put it. We can put a deadline just to know.
On that note, Adriano, ATLAC will be having some meetings on the side, as they say,
yes,
at the LSC meetings in May. And as an official observer, we're allowed to have one person there in person to attend those meetings.
Yes. By the way, Dumitru Pronario is a good friend of us, and so we can have also direct relation and talks with them, and to understand what they are doing, what are their goals, and try to help if we can. So okay, so these were the space law. I think okay. Let it be by now. I will stop sharing. I think if you agree, we can ask Dennis to illustrate his presentation. I have it open here in Word. Do you want me to share it, or you want to share your copy as you prefer?
You can share what you want. I'm not able to do two things at once. So I'm just going to start talking from my notes here about what this is about. As a background, you folks should know that at the upcoming LSC meetings next month, the working group on the legal aspects of space resource activity, which is shortened to the Space Resources Working Group, pivotal meeting for them. At the end of April, so I'm told by Stephen Freeland, who's the remaining chair of that group, they are going to be posting their first draft of principles. They're not calling them a new treaty or a new agreement, but they're calling it at this stage principles concerning space resource activity.
Okay.
From reading, excuse me, from reading the contributions of the various countries who submitted them, comparing that with work we've done, I put together this talk, and it focuses on what I call 4 ambiguities in the Outer Space Treaty. The Outer Space Treaty is by far accepted or the most widely accepted component of any framework for the future under customary international law, but it is ambiguous or silent when it comes to space resource activity, especially by private entities. So I identified 4 ambiguities that need to be clarified. The first, and probably most important, is that any resources that are removed from in place can become the private property of whoever removes them. And that would not be a violation of the Article 2 prohibition against appropriation. Once they're removed from in place, they can be owned under national laws of whatever nationals are doing it. The second has to do with an extension of national jurisdiction to any installations that are built by that nation or their nationals. Just as, excuse me, it now applies to any objects that are sent into space, so too should it apply to any installations that are built there. Installations, facilities, bases, resource activity locations, that whatever company or the national of that country that builds those, that country's jurisdiction and control, including its laws, would apply there. The third has to do with sharing of information and the need to clarify that intellectual property rights will be honored. Each nation's international property rights will still protect the intellectual property of the nationals of those nations, and they won't be forced to disclose them beyond that without due compensation or some other trade-off. But that other than that, sharing of information will be encouraged for a number of reasons: transparency, safety, helping other nations. There's all sorts of good things for sharing information, so long as intellectual property rights are still honored. And the final one, and kind of the mushiest, has to do with due regard and avoiding harmful interference. The Artemis Accords applies that to operations that are already going on. But this paper presentation suggests that it should also be applied not just to the present interests of ongoing operations, but also to the future interests of those who are going to come later, be that other companies, be that emerging countries, or be that future settlers and settlements, which kind of links it into us, especially. I note in a paragraph after that that SRI is in somewhat a unique position. All the delegations from other countries are representing the interests of their country, which they should. But SRI, we speak for the settlers. We are very far, what do they call it, the long view. We are oriented towards making sure that nothing that happens now is going to prejudice the potential and the rights of future settlers and settlements on the moon and other places in space, be it other celestial bodies or in space itself. So we speak for the settlers is one of the themes. After I mentioned that, I summarize it in the Declaration of the Right to Development. And if you could go down there a little bit, yeah, you'll notice I put in bold print, we speak for the settlers. If you can scroll to the next paragraph, I think it's worth reading. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. I say, to this end, we ask the legal subcommittee to take note of the Declaration of the Right to Development passed by the General Assembly. And then the next sentence,
very important,
where it states that the right to development is an inalienable right, inalienable human right, excuse me, by virtue of which every human person and all peoples are entitled to participate in, contribute to, and enjoy economic, social, cultural, and political development in which all human rights and fundamental freedoms can be fully realized. That one sentence seems to encapsulate the ideal that this organization, me personally, and many others in the well, just who are interested in outer space as a hopeful way forward. That sums it up right there. Now, Wes, in an email responding, recommended that we include a reference to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and I agree with that. I didn't include, there's a specific thing that he's talked about, which is the right to own property. And to not to cut too fine a hair, but that basically means the right to own property in a system wherein private ownership of property exists, that every individual should have that. But I didn't do that specifically here because of that tough thing with the prohibition against appropriation and how no one nation can actually have property rights on the moon, even though we are encouraging and promoting that nation's jurisdiction and control extends to the installations, bases, resource activities, etc. That's the next best thing we have to property rights, is the extension of jurisdiction and control. So what I'm trying to say here to wrap it up is that there are these four ambiguities that we should point out and recommend be addressed in a way that favors civilians in space, that favors private activity, and that we promote the Declaration of Right to Development and that particular phraseology. And also in general, we can promote the UDHR as a way to promote our support of future settlers and settlements. By the way, at the beginning, I put in a plug for the 18th SDG and mentioned the over 100 organizations that are with us in supporting that. So that's pretty much it. A statement on behalf of private activity, civilians in space, and the future settlers and settlements.
Excellent, Dennis. I think, I don't know if we want to have a small discussion about the 4 points. We can do it, but before that, I would like to talk of what we have to do with this document. I think we have two possibilities. One is to prepare a paper that can be uploaded into the a repository of the papers. That is, now we have this possibility. We got a letter from ONUSA saying that all states and and observers can upload contents to this big repository. So this is something that, so we can reshape a little bit this document as a paper. And so that would mean to add some references, some references to literature and so on for this purpose. But this work doesn't need to be finalized before the legal subcommittee. We can even make it later if we don't have time to do it to complete it now. The other thing is that if we want to present these concepts at the legal subcommittee, the dimension is more suitable for a 10-minute presentation, the so-called technical presentation, and it means that we have to make slides, to put it in slides. Then
I'm sorry, Adriano, you have to what?
we have to put this paper in slides.
PowerPoint format.
For a presentation.
Oh, slides.
Yeah,
okay,
PowerPoint,
I understand.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that can be done. And by the way, I timed it out so that it is a 10-minute presentation. But I could put it into a PowerPoint format if
Yeah, because if it is only a speech, it should be 5 minutes. That I think 5 minutes is quite too narrow.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said 10. That means it's twice as long.
No. If it is one of the technical sessions, it can be a longer format. If it is something to the general committee, 5 is the max.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there are two ways. One is the 5-minute speech, and the other one is a 10 minutes PowerPoint presentation. Yeah, these are the possibilities. So I think definitely we have to put it in a PowerPoint format. So any one of us, maybe me or Werner, can present it.
Adriano, is it correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there also a third vehicle to get this in, which is the initial, like through our initial address to the committee, the speaking part where there's no PowerPoint. It's just observers get during the general exchange of views. Yeah. And yeah, so that's another avenue. I see a lot of times the conference room papers that are submitted are almost identical to what delegations have said, but I don't think it has to be exactly like that. So I just wanted to point out the initial address speaking part of it and see what could be done there.
I think it is better to choose let me say, for the size of the concept, it's better to choose a 10 minutes presentation for this topic, that is use of space resources. If we want to also have a 5 minutes speech, we could choose another topic for the 5 minutes speech.
And then you also had the submission to the working group. That's already been done, correct? The working group left open for observers to submit via email their submit content directly to them. And I believe that this was done 2 months ago, but I don't know exactly what was submitted. But can you recall that, Adriano?
Yes, I should. I'm not sure that. Okay.
I have a copy of that in my files, and if you want, I can send it to the Space Law Committee email address. I'll do that after this meeting.
Yes, that's great. Sorry, no, yeah, please assist me. The chairman, chairperson of this committee. I hope you will take care of all the official things to be done. And I will simply be the postman, let me say.
I will send that document in that role. I won't do the minutes, but I'll send the documents and I will make that PowerPoint presentation
Great.
within the next couple of weeks, limited to 10 minutes.
Excellent. And for maybe for the 5 minutes, speech, we could choose the topic of peace. And so to recall the UN flag on the moon and to talk about no weapon in space and all this kind of things, I think that resonate very much with what Amalie is proposing, and we have never to forget these aspects that are also important. By the way, I see that Amalie is raising her hand, so maybe Amalie.
All right, yeah. I'm very impressed with Dennis's wonderful paper here. I'm wondering if this can be submitted as a conference room paper so that it's in the written record of the proceedings. That we want it to be recorded by the UN, to be there on file, accessible at their address at any time. This is excellent work. And the other thing is that the 4 points that Dennis, he elaborated 4 points. It's so succinct and very accurate. I just wondering, I couldn't actually write them down, but I will do it later. But if it was possible to prepare a small sheet with the 4 points on the problem, how it's addressed, very small, a circular that could
That's
be
important. That's
delivered.
important because we can put it in our player, on our player, a summary. That's very
it could be a flyer that could be circulated in the room. It's very all right. Thank you.
I'll work on that as part of the or as something that goes along with the technical presentation.
Okay.
Yeah, and the conference
I'll
room
distribute,
paper. Yeah.
I'll distribute this script that you see on the screen, and I will also distribute a 1-page summary of those 4 main points, and probably also the.
Please provide that as soon as possible because we have to print it. And maybe Werner can.
I will do the written part as soon as possible. The PowerPoint presentation takes a little while for creativity.
Good.
But I'll do the written part as soon as possible.
Fine. Excellent. Molto bene.
Okay. Can I just comment real quick, Dennis? Now I'm starting to see the logic on at this point stopping short of tipping the appropriation scale right out of the gate. You kind of got to work your way up to that, and so I think that's the right thing to do. There'll come a time, and maybe this is next year, or the discussion of the concept of private property rights to resources in place somehow developing someday outside of the traditional national framework. I fail to see how that's ruled out forever, but we kind of got to work your way up to that one and drive home the initial point about the extracted resources and hammer that home. I appreciate the reference to the UDHR, but I see that. I now see the logic in keeping it to those 4 points.
Thank you.
Good. Anyone has anything to say about the 4 points, the details of the 4 points?
Let's see.
I see none.
No,
maybe
Adriano, what I ended up posting into the chat are the links to the draft documents that I was referring to. They're They're relevant in the sense that, it attempts to address, not only some of the inadequacies that are identified in the 4 points, but also where there's an opportunity to do something that blazes a trail, from those top level requirements. It's, the intention is to open a discussion, on these things. And, we welcome anyone's, participation in that discussion.
Okay.
Give you a little bit of time to digest it, and I'll definitely participate there.
Not a problem. This is.
Sorry, Amalie, your hand is still up because you forget it, or you want to say something more?
Great.
Okay, it was forgotten from before. Good. So, well, we stayed in 1 hour. If we have finished, I think we are improving our meetings methodology, and well, maybe we can close some action items where we for sure rise it up by the AI companion that is taking care of what we are saying. And so tomorrow, I think I can share a little bit minutes of this meeting, or send the materials to Wes if you want to do it yourself.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay.
Of course.
Fine. So, what can we say more? Have a good.
Okay, Gary. It looks like we're
Thank
both
you
doing speeches at the ISTC. So I'll see. Hopefully, you'll see my track, and I'll see your track, and see you at the after party there.
Oh, yeah, it'll be in. I don't think it's called the presidential suite. It's whatever the most ridiculous thing is they have there.
Yeah, it won't be that hard to find.
Thank
Take
you
care.
all for your
Okay.
feedback.
Thank you everyone for participating. Take care. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.